From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and Akashvani, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the sometimes quirky world of cricket. I'm Charu Sharma for Akashvani in Kolkata today, having just finished a golf event where I can't even say I played. It was just miserable. But the best part of it is I realized that I've hit the bottom. It can only get better from here on. I've got to see the positive side.
You're in good company, Charu. Hello to you. I'm Brett Sprigg for the ABC in Sydney, where our domestic summer is winding down, but there's an enthralling test series getting underway in New Zealand as we speak, and still plenty of things keeping us entertained right across the world of cricket.
I'm Nikesh Ragani for the BBC in Leicester. Good to be back on the show, edging ever closer to the domestic cricket season. All eyes still on England against India, of course, with the final test still to come. But lots of anticipation, certainly for me to get out there and get my whites on again this season.
Well, great to have you, Spriggy. And Nikesh, thanks so much for joining us. And we'll, a little later, take you on a tour of a museum, a cricket museum, very special one. But that's a little later in the show. First, let's start with India as they continue their fine, unbeaten run at home. I think they've been beaten, since 2012. That's a wonderful run. A victory in the fourth test in Ranchi gave them an unassailable 3-1 lead against England. Just like the last tour, they lost the first test, came back very strongly. Seems to be the same script this time around. And of course, it's been a very eventful test series with a lot of top Indians actually missing. Rishabh Pant is still not well after the horrendous accident of his. Virat Kohli, congratulations, is now a proud parent of a very young boy. So he was missing for the entire test series, will not be back for the fifth test. Also, Ravi Ashwin was in and out. And KL Rahul, unfortunately, is also injured, has not been playing the series. And, of course, Bumrah was also rested. So a lot of top Indian players missing out, but that, of course, gave an opportunity for lots of youngsters to show their skills. As for England, their first series defeat under Ben Stokes' captaincy. The fifth and final test, though, begins in Dharamshala a little later, perhaps next week. So we'll wait for that. Maybe Stokes and England can actually... let's not call it dead rubber, because it's very important for England to continue the way they have been playing. Brett, Nikesh, staying with the series, we're starting in India. Plenty of talk about how India would cope without their biggest stars, and that too 1-0 down in the series. But the youngsters have really come to the party. But Spriggy, if I can begin with you, if you've been following the series a bit, what's your take on how India managed to stay in and then, of course, win pretty handsomely?
Yeah, for me, it was the way that they seize on those moments that present during a test match. And you're right, unlike that first test match where it was England that sort of came from behind to win, on this occasion in Ranchi, really this looked like England's test match to lose right up until, there are probably a couple of ways to assess England's capitulation, but really they didn't play those conditions well. India sensed they had an opportunity to gain control of this match and with it the series. So I think that is to be admired. This is a fairly young team, or certainly has a few young players. We'll talk about those specific names shortly, but against an England team that is aggressive and wants to sort of shock teams out of the contest, India didn't wilt. And you say, England didn't handle the conditions well. We expect India to win in those circumstances, but you've still got to turn up and do it. And I think with the series on the line, they were impressive because they had a feel for those key moments and took their opportunities when it mattered the most.
Yeah, Nikesh, a lot was made about England being in the Middle East and getting used to similar conditions and then coming to India pretty well prepared. Initially, it did seem that they were very well prepared, but later?
Yeah, initially it did, of course. I mean, look, there's nothing that can replicate playing against India in India. So whether you go to India a little bit early and you play against President's 11s and things like that, yes, the conditions, the heat, all those things with the pitches and stuff. I mean, look, pitches are quite easy to replicate in Abu Dhabi at the ICC Academy. They can, if you want a fifth-day turner in Chennai, they'll prepare that for you. So in terms of the actual physical pitch conditions, I don't think that was so much of an issue. I think playing against India in India, it can only be done with practice. And look, it's more a case, I think, that England were as well prepared as they probably could have been anyway, given, their style of cricket. They don't focus too much on conditions anyway. They've got this mantra, this is the way they play. I think what it has done, though, the more that this series has gone on, it's given India a chance to see what England are all about and get used to the way that England play And they found various ways to counteract that just by sort of, occasionally going punch for punch with the likes of Jaiswal attacking at the top of the order, but also, just saying, well, okay, you can play that way, but we're confident that our spinners can do the job in these conditions. Our fast bowlers at times have shown that they can put the pressure on as well. So that their mantra is, we found a way to counter what you're all about. We didn't quite work it out. They've played one test against England in this Bazball era previous to this series, and that was that one-off test at Edgbaston. They got completely blitzed in that final innings with that record chase. Again, first test of this series, they went down and they realized, well, hang on, okay, we're learning a little bit more. And as this series has developed, I think India have learned a lot more about England than perhaps England have learned about playing against India in Indian conditions, albeit England have competed pretty well. They've just lost out on the big moments.
Nikesh, Shubman is only 24. And I don't know how it goes overseas, but a lot of people are comparing him to Kohli in terms of just how steady and dependable he seems to be, how confident he seems to be, and so built in a classic mold. What do you make of Gill? I call him still Gill. Other people call him Mr. Calm.
Well, look, you listen to various pundits. One of our colleagues on the BBC, Michael Vaughan, has always said he's the next big thing in Indian cricket. And that's the way it was built. Look, he's very young, obviously made his debut 3 years ago or so. And I don't like these comparisons with people like Kohli. Kohli is Kohli, Gill is Gill, right? And Tendulkar was Tendulkar. You don't need to necessarily compare. The Indian press loves to do it, of course. And, I suppose it's only natural that if Kohli's the king, Shubman Gill has been described as the prince. I mean, look, he was in danger of being dethroned, Shubman Gill, as a prince before the start of this series. He was in terrible form. Things just weren't going well for him. He's, of course, having to get used to a new role at number 3. I think he's maturing into that role now. And look, that 100 that came earlier on in the series, that was critical. This test in Ranchi, yes, he got a 52 not out. He soaked up a lot of pressure. He wasn't the usual classy, free-flowing Gill that we're all used to seeing, and he needed to play a different type of innings. It was only when Dhruv Jurel came in, almost like a big brother, really. He's a junior to Gill in this test team, making his debut. But he came in like the senior player and, soaked up a lot more pressure and was able to rotate the strike and tick the runs along. That gave Gill then the confidence to go and do what he did and see the side home with that unbeaten half century. Look, he's back in good form. India have been crying out for a number 3 for quite some time with the lack of form for Pujara over the last couple of years. And then, it's been a pretty solid position over so many years, hasn't it? Rahul Dravid held it for so long. And then Cheteshwar Pujara comes in and makes it his own for over 100 test matches as well. So it's a difficult position, very different type of player. He's the modern, I suppose, stereotypical IPL generation Indian player, likes his flash cars, likes a topless selfie every now and again, loads of followers on Instagram. But as long as his bat can keep churning out the runs, then I think everybody in India is happy. And whether he's the next Kohli or whether he's not, as long as he keeps putting in these match-winning performances, I don't think anybody will care.
Yeah, the little I know of Shubman Gill, I think he has a very steady head on his shoulders. And you mentioned the flash side of him, but I think he realizes his responsibilities as a cricketer first. And I think he's in for a very long career. He just walked the straight and narrow. Now, next on Stumped, when you think of Japan and sport, I think cricket may not spring to mind straight away. Many other sports do. Baseball, and of course, sumo wrestling, just to be a little stereotypical, most popular sports in Japan. But for our next guest, she is a bit of a cricketing icon in Japan. Shizuka Miyagi is Japan's most capped international player, having represented the women's national team 74 times, and also captained the national side for about 2 years or so. She made her debut back in 2006 when very few people were playing cricket in Japan, and announced her retirement from the sport just last year. She also holds the women's national team record of 45 wickets and is the second highest scorer in terms of runs at 663 for the team. Now, Shizuka aims to inspire the new generation, as she must, because cricket is now picking up fairly quickly in Japan. And this week I had the opportunity to speak with her just a short while back, and she began by telling me how she first got into cricket and the barriers she faced on the way to the top.
I started playing cricket when I was 19 years old and when I entered my uni, because I had no chance to play cricket when I was a kid, and I had never ever seen cricket in Japan because baseball is a very big sport, so no chance. But But when I entered my uni, oh, cricket, what's this? Very, very new sports for me.
Is it right that you tried to join your baseball club and they refused and you said, well, okay, no baseball, let's do cricket?
My parents' place and is called home of high school baseball in Japan, and they have a professional baseball team in the town. And I always try to play baseball and try to join the local club when I was a kid, but they always reject because I was a girl. Baseball is a boys' sport.
You debuted for your country in 2006. You said you were 19 that point of time.
Yes,
what was that tournament and what was the feeling like to be playing for Japan?
Yeah, I was really, really proud of representing my country. And I had been playing for Japan for 70 years, and I just stopped playing for Japan last year. And I played for Japan for 74 times. Yeah, 74 times. And I don't know, you know that, and my husband is the CEO of Japan Cricket Association, and he also played for Japan. So
it's all in the family. Yeah. Okay, well, you have a long list of achievements, Shizuka. I mean, to mention a few, you, of course, have a team record, the women's national team record of 45 wickets. You're also second in the number of runs scored at 663. You've been playing for so many years.
Yeah.
And you were the first Japanese cricketer to get a professional contract. Playing at the Fairbreak International in Dubai, 2022 it was. What would you consider your most proud achievement?
I have a lot, but we won the bronze medal in 2010 in the Asian Games, and we played against Pakistan or like Bangladesh. And of course, we beat really badly, but we had a really good chance to play against a strong team, and and we have to do that to win a strong team.
When do you think we'll see a Japanese woman play, say, in the WPL or the WBBL as well?
Very good question, and because a lot of girls players still start playing cricket around 19 or 20 years, but junior cricket really, really big now in Japan, but still we have a limited numbers for girls. So I think we have to promote cricket only for girls in Japan, so we can get a lot of numbers. And I think a few players are really, really good potential because they play the baseball. So they can hit a ball really hard and they can throw the ball really, really good. So I think they might have a chance to WPL or WBBL or hopefully next 5 years.
Is the Japanese women's cricket team getting to play enough international matches? The men's cricket calendar is so crowded. The women are gradually picking up, but is Japan, the national team, getting to play enough internationally?
Much better now because they played maybe 3 or 4 international tournaments last year, and they always already played one international tournament this year, ACC, Asian Cricket Council Premier Cup, and this month, 2 weeks ago. So they also will have East Asia Cup and maybe in September in South Korea this year. So they can play at least 2 international tournaments once a year. So it is very nice to help them to improve their skills and tactics and something.
You know, any sport does require funds. So what is, and cricket's not, for the moment, if I may say so, not a very big sport in Japan. Is it a problem getting enough commercial support for all the cricketers and certainly for your travels?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's always really hard to get money from kind of some company because they don't know what cricket is. So is it good to spend money for cricket? But now cricket is an Olympic sport, so a lot of companies are very interested in spending money for cricket in Japan. So it is very helpful.
Well, that would have been my next question. Now that the cricket is threatening to be in the Olympics in 2028, maybe Japan will be a little more aware of what cricket needs. But would you personally feel a little sad that you would not be playing the Olympics because, you know, I mean, you have given up the game now actively?
Yeah, but I know only top 6 teams that can play Olympics in 2028. So, but Japan ranking now around 50. So there are really big gap now, so that and maybe we have a good structure for coaching and training program for players, and I hope and we hope we can play Olympics maybe 2040 or something.
The sooner the better. The sooner the better.
Finally, on Stumped, it's time to take you all on a nostalgic journey down cricket's memory lane. Sham Bhatia's passion for the game is so immense that he decided to build a cricket museum in his home in Dubai. This two-storied museum, which is nearing the 15-year-old mark, by the way, holds cricket memorabilia, including 2,000 cricket books and magazines dating back to 1900, as well as autographed cricket bats and prized many possessions gifted by legends of the game. The walls of the museum are adorned with the history of cricket from 1887 till now, and there are designed pillars for all test-playing nations describing their history. It's my pleasure to welcome my old friend, Sham Bhatia, to Stump. Sham, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jaro. Nice to be with you.
Well, let's go back right to the start, which was a long time back. Where did your passion for cricket begin, Sham?
Well, I used to play myself. My elder brother used to play. And then school, university, and state. I mean, since I'm born, and I've seen the balls on the bat.
Well, we know you are quite remarkable, Sham, but let's get to the first ever gift that you received from this museum. I believe it was from a certain Indian cricket great.
That was Sunil Gavaskar.
And what was it, Sham?
Him.
Tell us a little more about it. I know you and Sunny are very close.
The bat. This cricketers used to come here in 70s, 80s when games started in Sharjah, and Indian, Pakistani started, and all teams were coming. So I used to host lunch, dinner for them, and we used to meet all team will come, and they will leave some or other gifts. And then I used to keep in one room. But then I decided in my old house, I had a small room for cricket, all memorabilia and all. Then I built a new house. I just same way. Then I realized, like this old museum I was building for my own, not for public anything, on my own passion. And I decided to become a smaller. Let's make it 2 stories. I demolished that. I make it 2 stories. Now I have no place to even put the pin. So I'm struggling. Like other day, the Karen Pollard came to see the museum, and he gave me his shoes, which is, I think, 15 size or what size. It's an unbelievable size. So these guys keep on coming and give me this. So I have, I'm so blessed. And most of the things, I was also possession of Viv Richard, Sir Viv Richard, gave me his own blazer.
Yeah, Sham, Nikesh here. I understand you've got a separate area in your museum for all those cricketers who've crossed the 10,000 runs test mark. Are you sort of up to date with that? Have you got the Joe Roots and all those guys in there?
Yes.
And tell us a bit more about how that looks.
Everyone who crossed 400 wickets and 10,000 runs, immediately we change the board.
And you've also been to many World Cups. You're a big cricket fan yourself. You said before we came on air that you're heading to the Dharamshala Test match, the 5th one in the India-England series as well. You've obviously seen a lot of World Cup cricket over the years. Tell us about your journey of your first World Cup that you saw and what kind of tribute you've paid to those World Cups in your museum as well.
Well, when I went the first World Cup, I didn't know any much of the cricketers. But when I was in the finals, the match which West Indies won, I think Ian Chappell was the captain for Australia, and Clive Lloyd, who's one of my dearest friends today. And both of them are my dearest friend. That time at 60 overs, day match in the whites, it was amazing experience.
A truly incredible collection, Sham Bhatia. But that's it for Stump this week. A big thank you to Brett Sprigg and, of course, to Nikesh Rughani for joining us. And to all our listeners, thank you again. Join us next time.